What's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you a story about my 46-year-old friend who had to, quote, eat more food and especially ice cream after using a particular style of kettlebell workouts. Yeah, I know those are tough problems to have. And no, this wasn't me. In fact, I recently got an email from my friend who lives in North Carolina, and he's been training with kettlebells. And golly, how long's Billy been training kettlebells? Probably 10, 15 years, maybe longer. And he's actually worked super hard, right, to overcome chronic shoulder pain. And now he's working hard to alleviate hip issues, which arose from a less than optimal knee surgery about 30 years ago. Anyway, he and I were writing back and forth, and the quote in this video for today was part of a discussion that we had in the email about smart but hard training, and specifically the need to train hard as a way to relieve stress from work, life, etc. And I'm going to flash up here this email that Billy wrote about his results using kettlebells over the last 6 months. So you can see what kind of results you might be able to expect, if you're in the same situation and use the same style of workouts. All right. So this is what Billy said. He said, I quote, I have gone from 165, 167 to 172, 175 pounds. And at 46 years old, I had to increase caloric intake. Who doesn't like to eat more food, and especially ice cream with crushed gluten-free Oreos and hot chocolate fudge? Because even at a low body fat, I was getting thinner. That body weight is a personal high for me. Adding the DFSQ, or the double front squat, was a game changer and made everything more effective slash efficient until it didn't. I was using double 20s as a transition to using double 53s or 24 kilos, and I was on my way as I can now press them 6 to 7 reps, and that was 2 to 3 reps previously. All right, so I think we can all agree what that looks like. What is that? 300% increase in reps in his double kettlebell press. Okay, over the course of 6 months. Now, which, by the way, I think is really good, man. I don't know how many guys out there are seeing those kinds of results, but I know a lot who would. So, in context, what Billy was talking about was kettlebell complexes, and specifically a group of programs that I put together in a product called Kettlebell Hard. And this is what Billy said about Kettlebell Hard. He said, Kettlebell Hard, the most enjoyable set of programs I've done to date. All right, now keep in mind, I've known Billy, man, since the late 2010s, right? So maybe like 2008, 2009. So it's really late 2000s. Yeah, nice one, Jeff. Anyway, so I've known him probably going on 15 years or so. He and I actually trained in person once or twice back in North Carolina when I lived there. So he's been doing kettlebell training for a long time. And so, again, I think it's pretty relevant to the conversation that this is the most enjoyable set of programs he's done to date. He says it's not Rocky IV stuff, but it sure reminds you of war. Now, in case you don't recall, war is that instrumental playing when Rocky is fighting Drago in the background of Rocky IV. So for Billy, the training is so demanding, he's actually eating more than normal to keep from losing weight, or muscle in this case. Speaking of muscle, he's actually packing muscle on. So what's the point? The point here is if you need or want a kettlebell workout program that actually helps you blow off some stress and you don't mind training hard, really hard in some cases, and here's the caveat, you're pretty savvy with a pair of kettlebells or the Olympic lifts, then you may find any one of the 35 plus kettlebell hard training programs right up your alley. Okay. In fact, each program is 6 weeks long or more, 3 times a week, between 15 to 30 minutes at a time. Now, why aren't they any longer? Well, because you don't want them to be. Trust me on that. Okay. Like Billy said, super challenging, most satisfying as ever done. Now, what if you're saying, yeah, Jeff, but I've already done kettlebell complexes. How are these different? Well, I'll tell you, they're based on a particular style of programming that I call Cuban programming. And that is the combination of Soviet weightlifting methodology and sports science, right? Gleaned from the Soviet weightlifting literature and in the trenches, like doing it in the trenches myself, along with American powerlifting cycling, specifically adapted to accommodate our Western stress-filled lifestyle. Now, this particular type of approach to programming, Cuban programming, was taught to me by my old Olympic lifting coach and strength mentor, Alfonso Duran. Now, what's so special about that? Well, he trained, right? He was on the Cuban weightlifting team, and he was trained by the Soviet weightlifting team coach and world champion, Alexei Medvedev. So, it's a pretty good pedigree. Like, he might know what he's talking about. So the Cuban programming inside Kettlebell Hard is one of the reasons Billy can grow muscle and have to eat ice cream at 46, like a 16-year-old does. So I think that's pretty relevant to the conversation here. But let me just be crystal clear. Am I saying that you will personally have to eat ice cream to keep the weight from falling off you? Well, no, that's just stupid, right? Why? Because I don't know anything about you or your training background or your lifestyle. But what I can tell you is that if you like challenging, hard, tough as nails kettlebell workouts, well, you'll probably want to check out the kettlebell hard programs because they will scratch your itch. Plus, you're going to get 35. Is it 35? Yeah, 35 plus full-blown 6-week or longer kettlebell workout programs for less than a cost of a nice dinner for two. So I think that's a pretty screaming deal or steal, however you look at it. So, if you want to challenge your inner Rocky, throw on War, and get started on one of the kettlebell hard complexes today, well, I'll leave the link to kettlebell hard in the video description below. Until next time, stay strong.